the best duo in the NBA?
I tell you, it's a tricky one because you got Tatum and Brown you have to consider. They've won a championship. These two haven't. But I'm going to say these two. I mean, think about it. LeBron's probably, top 2, top 3 players in the history of the league. And Luka, from a standpoint, I always got a lot to prove now. But Luka's, top 2, 3 players in the league. So you got basically a top 5, top 6 player, and you got a top 2, top 3 player. Nobody else has that.
What?
Nikola Jokic, a 3-time MVP and NBA champion, is somehow playing even better than ever and has his Denver Nuggets inexplicably in second place in the most competitive Western Conference we've seen in decades. In any other time in NBA history, an established superstar of this quality playing at this historic level would make him a lock for his 4th NBA MVP award because of his past greatness. But unfortunately, in the case of Nikola Jokic, the media wants to find a way to punish him for that self-same greatness because they have a very clear and specific agenda against him. And because they are the ones who ultimately vote and decide, Nikola Jokic will not win his 4th MVP this year, despite being the only real choice. What is that agenda, you might ask? Well, unfortunately for us fans, it has nothing to do with basketball, and by the end of this video, you're gonna feel pretty darn disgusted by that fact. Let's talk. Cue my intro.
A conversation of, is this the best basketball player to ever touch a basketball? And I think we can all agree on that and say it's not. At this stage in his career, I'm not okay with saying that. He hasn't won anything. And now we're in the conversation. At this point, he's the best center of all time.
He's going
with 3 in a row?
Yeah, 3 in a row.
Can he dominate? We're putting him over the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, and it's just like...
A few moments later.
This year's Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Nikola Jokic.
Even though Boogie said this weird nonsense a few years ago now, it still very much rings true today. What he's saying is, despite what your eyes and ears are telling you, he doesn't want to give Nikola Jokic his flowers and accept the truth, which is that a fully white player from Serbia who'd rather be anywhere but here is by far the best and most durable player in basketball today, and is easily one of the greatest big men to ever play this game, and he's just entering his prime. The issue is, he doesn't look like them, he doesn't sound like them, therefore he can't be truly accepted. Demarcus says, well, if we gave him X MVP, that would make him the GOAT, and that's why I'm not doing it. So what if it would make him the GOAT? This doesn't even make sense. And neither does this either.
But it's just hard for me to see, UD, that a foreign-born player being the face of the NBA. I'm not saying that it can't happen. It's just hard for me to visualize that, considering the faces that we've seen. Magic and Bird, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron and Steph. It's just hard for me to see, but we never know. I mean, you see all these European and foreign-born players winning MVPs. Sooner or later, it might happen.
My personal opinion is I don't believe an international player can be the face of the NBA. I know they're global iconic figures, their popularity extends globally, but the NBA is an American-born sport.
The media is hilarious sometimes. They absolutely know that they can control the thinking of the general population, but think they can choose or dictate when to do so. No! That has to be your filter all the time if you're doing that. Instead of talking absolute rubbish about a lack of homegrown players, why not celebrate the vast international reach of the game and tout the fact that the top 3 NBA MVP candidates are not American, and how this is a good thing because American viewership's going down and international viewership is going up, so it's helping keep the NBA moving along. Instead, the media choose which narratives to push and which to bury. And that is sadly the reason why Nikola Jokic won't win his 4th MVP. Because if he does, it will put him in a stratosphere where he will truly be better than a lot of people's heroes who jumped higher, were a few shades darker, and most importantly, acted like they wanted to be there more than this guy. And unfortunately, that's the overarching reason they will give it to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because he's much closer to the idealized NBA superstar than Jokic, and sadly that has little to do with superior basketball skill, as we just said. But unfortunately, they are the ones who vote, so they have all the power and zero accountability. But if you define what it is to be an MVP and use the same standards for everyone equally, then with all due respect to SGA, who is my Canadian brother, Nikola Jokic is the only choice because of the insane year-over-year consistency. Why is the standard different because a dude is white? In the NBA, there's always been an unwritten rule of doing the job before you get it. Like, you have to earn even being considered MVP before getting it. Otherwise, players like LeBron James should have 12 MVP awards because he was absolutely the best player in the league since like year 5. But he had to earn it first, rightfully so. So too does SGA. And in that vein, we need to clear up and clear out the emotional bullshit surrounding the NBA MVP debate, not just for this year. The only non-biased way of looking at it is this. If you took player X off team Y, where would said team be? Yes, of course, both OKC and the Nuggets would be much worse off. But truthfully, OKC still has quite a few good players around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Whereas in Denver, the reason those players are even considered good is because of Jokic. Without Jokic, the Denver Nuggets would have a top pick in the lottery every year. Let's be real. If you asked anybody with half a brain who the best basketball player in the world is today, they'll say Nikola Jokic. The media will actually say it too. But in the same breath, they'll say, while he's the best player in basketball, he's not the MVP. But this doesn't make any sense at all, does it? And of course, it comes back to the same thing. He doesn't look like them. And even though Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is deserving and has better quote-unquote counting stats, the truth of the matter is Nikola Jokic is absolutely the most valuable player in the NBA today. And therefore, he should win his 4th MVP, regardless of skin, regardless of his skin color, or how excited he may or may not be to be a professional NBA player. The fact remains is, he's the best player in basketball. Full stop.